Welcome to Retail Pricing Unlocked, the podcast powered by InsightTrack. With over 15 years of experience supporting retailers, we share expert insights and strategies to help you turn pricing into a competitive advantage. Now, here's today's episode.
We're taking a focused look today at something that I know is a major source of stress for, well, pretty much every commercial team out there, especially in UK retail. We're talking about price intelligence solutions, and specifically how to find one that actually works for you, that eases the pressure instead of just, adding to the data headache. To help us navigate this, we're joined by an expert consultant from InsightTrack. Now, the trading environment at the moment is, well, it's brutal. We're in that intense run-up to the peak periods, and the pressure cooker is absolutely boiling. You've got promotions being layered on, supply chains are under strain, teams are stretched thin, and on top of all that, you're expected to monitor every competitor move while protecting your own margins. What makes acting now so urgent? It feels like any delay, even a few hours, just cascades, doesn't it? It can mean lost sales or worse, margin you didn't need to give away.
That urgency is something we see every single day. It's palpable across the industry. And there's this recurring, almost painful dynamic. Retailers know they need to be vigilant, but the workflow itself is just broken. A competitor makes a move, the team finds out late, often by accident, or worse, customer complains, and then it's this manual scramble. They're trying to pull data, reconcile all these different spreadsheets, and by the time they've actually got a strategy together, well, the best moment to act has already passed. The market just doesn't wait anymore. So smarter, faster decision-making isn't just about being efficient. It's really about survival now, whether you're a niche player or a high street giant.
I see. So let's dig into that core problem. It feels like it's not a lack of data, is it? Retailers are swimming in data. The real challenge, especially when your teams are flat out on campaigns, is turning that raw information into insight you can actually use in time.
That really hits the nail on the head. The biggest time sink isn't the analysis. It's what we tend to call data logistics. Just think about the daily grind. A category manager, say, needs to check 20 key product lines. They might have to log into their own system for stock and margin data that manually check 3 different competitor websites. Or maybe they log into another internal tool that just scrapes prices. Then they download all these separate files, and then comes the really messy bit, trying to merge these fragile spreadsheets.
Right, and I can imagine that merging process is never simple. You're not just lining up numbers, are you? You're trying to match product descriptions that are all slightly different. Oh, absolutely. You're wrestling with these complex matching rules, just trying to be sure that when competitor A lists, a 4K Ultra HD TV 55-inch, you're correctly comparing it to your own 55-inch UHD smart television. And if that match is even slightly off, every decision you make based on that data is flawed from the start. And crucially, they're trying to make these calls without seeing the vital context, like a competitor's stock levels. Is that low price just because they're clearing out old stock? Or what the real-time margin impact will be on their own business if they decide to match it. It means decisions often happen hours, sometimes a full day, after the competitor has already moved.
That makes so much sense. So the goal is to shift the effort, to get away from that reactive data crunching and move to something more proactive. Can you give us a tangible example? Walk us through how you'd actually simplify that process. Yeah, of course. We can walk through a typical case. We recently partnered with a mid-sized electricals retailer. They were highly sensitive to what their competitors were doing, but their price monitoring just kept falling to the bottom of the pile. Every team member understood intellectually why it was important, but the sheer manual effort involved meant the opportunities just evaporated by lunchtime. They were constantly playing catch-up. And what's crucial to recognize here is they didn't need more data. That would just add to the chaos. They needed the right data points, present with absolute clarity, and delivered at the exact moment their team sat down to plan the day.
So you built the solution around their actual workflow, their rhythm. You focused on that key moment when the decisions get made.
That's it. We put in place a proactive reporting solution that completely re-engineered how they started their day. The central pillar became this daily, high-impact price intelligence report, and it was delivered by email, bang on at 08.30 every morning.
Why that specific time, 08.30?
It sounds incredibly simple, but 08.30 is that sweet spot. It's just after the team logs on, but it's before the morning meetings kick in and the daily sales figures start flooding their inbox. It captures that market snapshot from overnight and presents it when the team has the most capacity to actually plan their morning. And this email
It's not just a spreadsheet attachment. It's a clean, really easy-to-read dashboard format. It bundles all those crucial bits of information together side by side. So what the key competitors are doing, what their stock status is, and right next to that, the retailer's own internal data. So their current margin, their stock position, and how that specific product has been selling recently. And the real beauty of it is that the format highlights exactly where they need to focus their attention, sometimes with recommended actions based on rules they've already set.
That sounds like a huge reduction in friction. No more logging into 3 different systems before your first coffee.
It is. It just eliminates that need to log into multiple places or, fight with spreadsheets. The team starts their day with a focused, structured view of what actually needs their attention. It essentially cuts hours of admin time out of their week. And perhaps more importantly, it really boosts team morale because you're removing a massive frustration point. This particular retailer reported saving, I think it was 4 to 6 hours of manual data work every single week per category manager.
Wow, saving 6 hours a week is pretty significant. But I imagine the real value comes from the quality and the speed of the decisions themselves. Did you see improvements there? Spotting issues before they get out of hand, making calls with more confidence?
Absolutely. The immediate result was confident decision velocity. When you have the context, the margin, your stock, the competitor's stock all in one place, you just move faster. And crucially, you move smarter. And this connects directly back to what we were saying about peak trading. Pricing is so fluid, competitors are running micro promotions, stock levels change by the hour.
So if you miss a competitor's price change on, say, a really popular laptop, what does that delay actually cost a retailer?
Well, it costs you on 2 fronts, margin and market position. If you're slow to react to a price drop on a key product, you might suffer a few hours of really poor conversion because shoppers see you as overpriced. On the flip side, if a competitor sells out and you don't see that status change quickly, you might keep matching a low price you don't need to, just burning margin unnecessarily. Speed here isn't about being impulsive or racing to the bottom. It's about seeing the right information early enough to make a controlled, informed decision that actually supports your strategy. And those automated alerts like the 08.30 report, they give you that control.
So if we were to synthesize this, what are the universal things that retailers tell you they need, regardless of their size or what they sell?
The consensus is pretty clear, actually. It boils down to about 5 things that just eliminate friction. First, they need accurate and timely competitor insights, and they have to arise consistently every single day. That reliability is key. Second, and this one is non-negotiable, the data has to be in context. Competitor prices and stock have to be right alongside their own internal data, their margin, their stock, their sales. That side-by-side view is everything. Third, automation. But not just for collecting data, for reducing manual work across the board, the cleansing, the matching, all of it. Fourth, they want clear reporting and actionable recommendations, not just raw data extracts. They want intelligence that guides the next step. And finally, it has to fit easily into their world. It needs to integrate with their Power BI dashboards, their ERP tools, whatever workloads they already have. When you get those 5 things right, pricing becomes an asset, not a chore.
That blend of external pricing with internal data, that really does sound like the strategic sweet spot. But let's flip it around. What are the warning signs? If I'm a retail exec listening to this, what are the red flags that tell me my current process is holding my team back?
There are probably half a dozen really clear signs that should be setting off alarm bells. The first one is if your team is spending more time collecting data, the logging in, the downloading, the sorting, than they are actually analyzing the market. If that's the case, you have a huge bottleneck. Second, if you're always finding out about competitor changes late, either because sales dip or, even worse, from customer complaints, that means your monitoring system has friction. Third is a reliance on those old, fragile spreadsheets for critical decisions. It's just a massive risk. Spreadsheets don't scale, and they definitely don't offer any kind of real-time assurance. Another one is when key decisions, whether to launch a promotion or match a price, get delayed because the supporting data just isn't ready or it's not accurate enough for sign-off. And maybe the biggest warning sign of all, if your team is going into busy trading periods feeling anxious, just hoping the manual processes hold together instead of feeling confident and in control, that's when you know you need to rethink the whole workflow.
It sounds like the technology is the enabler, but the partner you work with is just as critical, especially when the stakes are so high. What's different about InsightTrack's approach to that partnership?
The relationship is everything. It really is. We don't just sell software. We're there to provide assurance. What our clients tell us they value most isn't just the quality of the data, but the reliability of it and the speed of response when they need something specific.
That 08.30 email alert we talked about, that wasn't some standard feature we just rolled out. It came from a specific conversation with that customer about their morning huddle and how they make their decisions. Our whole approach is rooted in being flexible. If a certain report format or a really niche bit of data is crucial for how a customer trades, we'll find a way to engineer it and deliver it reliably. That's what builds real trust. And when the market is moving fast, you have to trust your data partner.
That flexibility, that ability to tailor the solution to a client's own rhythm, their meetings, their systems, that seems so important. It stops the tech from just becoming another burden.
It has to. We aim for minimum disruption and maximum utility. And it's important to say that meaningful gains often start with targeted, straightforward changes, not some massive multi-year transformation. Starting with daily email alerts for your most important categories, or just getting those consolidated views of price, stock, and margin side by side. These small actions lead to clearer insight, faster reactions, and better margin protection almost immediately. The solution has to fit into their day and make them feel supported, not overwhelmed.
So it all comes down to stripping away that manual work to give commercial teams the clarity and control they need to compete properly, rather than just surviving.
That's it. We focus on making sure every commercial decision starts from a place of confidence, so teams can use their expertise for strategy, not for admin.
If there's one takeaway to leave you with, it's this. In a market that moves as fast as UK retail, pricing isn't just a number, it's a strategy. And the retailers winning right now aren't the ones reacting the quickest, they're the ones powered by the right partner. If you want to stop firefighting and start pricing with purpose, head to insighttrack.com to learn more about their price intelligence solutions and how they're helping retailers stay ahead without racing to the bottom.
You've been listening to Retail Pricing Unlocked, brought to you by InsightTrack. For more resources, case studies, and expert support, visit insighttrack.com. Make sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and join us again next week.